Oh my dear lord, what have we just witnessed? Jesus. Every single boss in Special Interception can now be downed within 15 seconds on full auto. That is the power of RedHood, Godhood, Peakhood. It's honestly crazy how strong she is right now. Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here and welcome to another NIKKE video. So today we are going to take a look at the RedHood guide, because I know some of you guys have been asking about the builds, the team used, and the capabilities of our first anniversary pilgrim. And honestly, lore accurate. Look at the votes. So far in just under 10 hours we have about 4,400 votes, and man, post buff RedHood is 80% of you think is a tier 0 damage dealer, and I completely agree. And looking into some of the comments, they're just absolutely hilarious. I think it's the first time in the community that people actually do appreciate this power creep for our favorite waifu. Now, with the RedHood guide, again, this is on nikke.gg. I'll leave a link down in the video so you can access this guide as well. And the owner has reached out to me. If you want to see any improvements or any changes made to the site, any suggestions on how they can best present the content, do leave them down in the comment, and they'll take a look and see what they can change. Now, this guide for RedHood, we will be talking about the teammates, the best in-slot substats for the overload gears, and everything else RedHood related. Now, I'm going to showcase my own RedHood, and damn, so beautiful. I'm core 5, of course. I'm waiting to luck sack with the free daily post my core 7 RedHood. I've got enough tickets to exchange just in case I don't get lucky. But you can see my RedHood is fully overloaded with the substats all rolled for as well. Each line has 3. Now, I will go over the substats. I think that's the most important. A lot of you guys are probably wondering what is best. And for RedHood, but before we do that, how do you get overload gear? Because I always get those questions. So you basically need to farm high levels, starting at level 7 clearance on the special interception. They will start to drop T9 manufacturer gears. So you need the pilgrim set to match the pilgrim units. Level them to level 5, and then you can use what they call rocks to modify the gear into overload. And the rocks can only be obtained once you can fully clear the special interception. So that's how you get the fully overload. So let's talk about the substats you should be aiming for, and it's quite clearly outlined here as well in terms of the priorities. Okay, so with regards to end game, okay, in the end game, honestly, if you're not in the top union rates or not in the top 50 of solo rate, don't worry too much, especially if you're early to mid-ish game, because later on people will definitely shift more towards elemental advantage, in the sense that you almost have elemental specific team comps for each boss, right? So once you have that going, elemental advantage will always outdamage any substats, just because of how the damage formula works. It will be added in the end, so elemental advantage is always good. However, it only works against, of course, the boss that is weak to iron, so make sure you keep that in mind. In terms of hit rate, it's not really useful for RedHood. Max ammo capacity, I would just have 1, because if you saw my previous videos, if you have max ammo capacity on RedHood, if you are quick scoping a bit, right, with 1 line of max ammo rolled to average or higher, you will be able to quick scope and you enter the first burst without having to reload. So that's quite important. That's why they recommend 1 line of max ammo capacity. But overall, for most players, okay, the attack is going to be just offering the most damage against elemental neutral. Again, not elemental weak, because this is always going to deal the most damage, but against most enemies that are not weak to iron, then increased attack is really good. It just offers more damage for RedHood. And even though RedHood does have self attack buffing on the burst 1, and this attack is somewhat lost in the benefits, you still want attack on your overload gear. Charge damage is not really recommended, because you just want to go for charge speed. Since RedHood converts charge speed into charge damage, the more charge speed you have, and we did the math, if it's max charge speed, then you will be going and converting that into charge damage, basically. So for example, I myself, I do have 1 line of charge damage here at 8.29, but if I had a charge speed on that, it's basically charge speed plus charge damage. And the rest, crit damage, crit rate, not really recommended. It's not the worst to have, of course, but you want to definitely get those attack and get those charge speed, and then 1 line of maximum ammo. So that's the substat you want to go for. Now, in terms of the cubes, currently we always have these two cubes as viable options, Resilience and Bastion, and you can see that Resilience and Bastion, I personally run Bastion. This is more auto friendly, and for Red Hood you actually do want to play her on auto, because unless you have really good macro or manual skills, you're not going to be able to use the full advantage of the quick scope. So for boomer hands like mine, Bastion, and you can use Resilience as well, not that big of a difference, but for quick scoping, Resilience will be just slightly better in terms of manual play versus Bastion on the auto. Okay, so just adjust and use the highest level. And in terms of the level upgrade, you can go to 777 for the skills, but she is definitely a unit worthy and a unit that wants to have 10, 10, 10, okay? And we say 777 is because after level 7, the mats used for upgrading is significantly more rare. So a lot of people, they stop at 444 to get minimum level effects from the skills, and the 777 is usually what early to mid game players will have them at, and then once you're in the end game, 10 10 10, 100%. And I do think if you want to get the most out of Red Hoods, if you're looking of course to get the most out of the skill kit and you can't upgrade everything to 10, I would say skill 1 and burst are the better ones to upgrade in terms of skill priority, and I think they mentioned it here. They should in terms of the priority. Let's take a look. They talk about the skills here, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it's mentioned here. I've got it zoomed so it fits nicely into this screen. But let's talk about team comps. Okay, so early game again. This is, so you might see them suggesting bunnies, and you're like, oh my god, bunnies are not that good, right? But this is early game. For players that are just starting out, you probably did a reroll, and then you're looking into Red Hood, and you've got your Snow White Innocent Days here for map clears. This is what you would run. Litter is the bread and butter for Burst 1. Of course, you can replace her with Dorothy, Volume, Miranda, and even N102 in an SR rarity unit. And then Blanc and Noir, unless you have those two together, of course, if you don't have the synergistic Blanc Noir or the Schoolgirls, Naga and Tia, then it's hard for you to just run them separately, right? So you get Burst 2, you can do Naga, Dollar, or Rupee, and even Senti for map pushing. And then Burst 3, Privity, Drake, Helm, all of these units are also viable. So this is early game comp. So late game optimized. So this, okay, this is the team that we're gonna see a lot, especially in story a bit, because story, I believe it's a lot shorter in terms of it's not a full 3-minute fight, so you want to finish your fights early. So this is the rotation we'll be following. Tia into Red Hood, and the Red Hood will reset, so you can go Naga and then into Modernia, because usually the story, the first wave, they're all mobs, right? So you want to kill the mobs, and then after that you can go into Tia, and then you can go into Red Hood, and then Naga into Alice. Now this doesn't allow you to go into the Red Hood burst, of course, but this is a shorter fight, and this is to get the most damage. I know it doesn't make sense for Red Hood not to burst, but this is basically taking advantage of Modernia's map clearing for the initial burst, and then second burst Alice single target to focus down the boss. Now, if you don't have this team set up, you can of course take away Alice or Modernia, and this will be your core, and put a burst 1, another burst 1, so Red Hood can actually burst as a burst 3, right? So that is one of the options as well. So in terms of DPS, so this team comp, we've already seen it currently at the very top in terms of the solo raid, and the current highest score, yes, that's right, you will see this team composition, and it's going to do the most damage as well. And let's take a look at oh, he's number 2 at the moment, Diora. So Diora is one of the members that pushed heavily into the Red Hood buff, and he's the one that posted the JP livestream image for me to make that video earlier. So you can see it, the number 1 team dealing almost 4 billion damage, way higher than anything even nothing even comes close. And this team is going to be Naga, Antia, Red Hood, Alice, and Litter. This is your undisputed tier 1 in terms of the content for endgame, because you're using the initial Red Hood burst on the Red Hood burst 1, right? So you reset, you can burst 3, and then after that Tia will burst into Litter instead, and then you can go into Alice. So this is absolutely crazy. And of course we also have other teams. And yes, to mention in this one, you want to manual Alice so you can quick scope if you're looking into that, so you can get the most out of Alice. And then RedHood just plays on auto. That works as well. So in terms of the burst, this is another one. If you don't have the schoolgirls, you can use the Blanc and Noir bunnies. And again, if you don't have either of these, burst 2s, Rupee, Senti, they're all viable replacement. And burst 3's Helm, Drake, anything that can help RedHood. And then Maxwell is actually a very strong, very strong unit to help RedHood because of the skill Maxwell provides. You can see in my previous special interception showcase 15-second full auto clears, Maxwell is going to be the ideal partner for RedHood. In terms of arena, honestly, I'm not 100% sure about the arena capabilities. Basically a better Alice. I'm not a huge PvP player, so you can see that those outcomes they suggested. So anyhow, I honestly think RedHood is absolutely broken. Everyone should have one copy, and max limit break if you can afford the max limit break, either using golden tickets or using exchange polls, everything in your arsenal to get a copy of RedHood. And of course, we still have the free dailies, and I'm going to do a poll and secure my Core 6 RedHood right here. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Next time. Oh, Rappy, of course. RedHood, this Walmart RedHood, right here. Anyways, mine's here. Let me know your thoughts, and I'm super pumped for the anniversary because I still want to see what happens in part 2 in terms of the story in the hard mode. And yes, so far it's been a fantastic anniversary, and I wish you a happy first year with NIKKE Commanders, and thank you for watching this video. Goodbye now.